3, 2, 1, go! Okay, today we're going to talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem is basically how much you value yourself, you respect and feel confident about yourself. It's not how you actually see yourself, but it's actually how you treat yourself in respect to that. So there's a couple things that go into, get off the table, please. Thank you. There's a couple things that go into the things that help you create your self-esteem, and one of those are your genes, and parts of the genes are basically your physical traits, your emotional traits, and your mental traits. That just simply means, obviously, from the genes from your parents and that type of stuff. Another thing that goes into that is the environment. The environment, you've probably heard the terms nature versus nurture before. We're saying that nature meaning, hey, you're just raised based, or you are the person you are because of who your parents are, because of your genetic makeup. Nurture meaning you're a certain type of person because of the environment you've been put in. And they've had studies where they've taken identical twins and they've been separated from birth and they live in completely different states, but they do the exact same thing. They have the exact same mannerisms, the exact same problems, and the exact same habits. So, makes you think, okay, is it nature versus nurture? Of course, then you have a situation where you've got a brother and a sister living in the same home, identical twins, and they're polar opposites. So, it's a controversy that's out there, but a couple things that are that affect your environment. Number one would be your family, school, your friends, and your media. We're going to break that down a little bit more real quick here. This, in your family, this illustration here shows more or less a pro and a con type situation where you have a good situation and then you have a bad situation. And how does that affect how you view and treat yourself? Well, in a positive family, you're going to have compliments and things like that where it's going to help you feel good about yourself. In a negative situation, you may have a family that's very critical. You may also have a family that's positive in nature. And then also, you may be in a family where there's constant arguments. There's not a very positive atmosphere. In a positive situation, people that have come out and had positive results have been in an encouragement environment. Basically, parents are real encouraging and help you kind of pursue your goals and things like that. Versus in a negative situation that hurts your self-esteem, there's people constantly correcting you and putting you down. But I want to kind of throw in a caveat here is that I think we as people have a choice. We can let that stuff affect us, or we can say, you know what, I am my own person and I will do what's best for me because I know what's best for me, and I don't put as much value as you think into your comments or your criticisms of what I'm doing. In a positive situation, a positive family environment, you have a lot of people that are the parents that take an interest. And then of course you have, in a negative situation, parents that ignore your accomplishments. For me, I'll give an example here, a personal illustration. I've done some things where I've competed for the Olympic trials, competed in a couple probably about 10 national championships. Did a couple good things in track and field as a high school athlete. My parents have never seen me compete ever. And I could have taken that as a negative and said, hey, they just don't love me, wham. I could whine and I could take the victim role about it. Or I could say, you know what, I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing it for me, and just view that a different way. So I could take that negative situation. The right person can take a negative situation and turn it into a good thing. So that it's not always, just because it's a negative situation, it doesn't have to hurt your self-esteem. Positive parents will praise your efforts. Negatives will a lot of times not take an interest. Myself being a track coach at EA, to be honest with you, I have very, very, very little parental involvement. And I understand that because I didn't have any parental involvement when I was an athlete, but I may meet 3 or 4 athletes' parents throughout the course of a year. of all the track meets we go to and all that, which is a sad situation. But, someone has to praise them. And that's kind of why I really like being a coach, is because I get to kind of be that person that pats them on the back when they cross the finish line, even if mom and dad aren't there. And so at least they know somebody's there for them. And that's where it comes into positive modeling. A lot of times, everybody wants to have the Leave It to Beaver situation where mom and dad are still together and they come home and cook supper and mom's folding clothes and dad's cutting the grass. But it doesn't always work out that way. So you can have positive and negative modeling. But again, it's how you allow that to affect you that I think determines who you are. And then healthy physical contact. We don't have to elaborate a whole bunch about that. Hugs and kisses are good. Punches and slaps aren't so fun. So, and unfortunately, there are a lot of homes that's the touching that happens. That's the physical contact that happens. So, again, you can take it with and let yourself be the victim, or you can say, hey, look, this is not the way I'm going to be when I become a parent. Let's see how much time we got left. Okay, we're doing good. All right, so school. The interesting thing about school is as a student, this is your first launch into society, meaning you don't have mom and dad holding your hand. This is the ability for you to respond to things like competition. This is the ability for you to put forth your effort, not really relying on anyone else. So this is kind of like your world that you get. It's your first independent world that you get to explain or basically give an example of who you are to your friends and achieve your own identity versus being within the family home and that type of stuff. And it's also where you start to have or not have acceptance of who you are and who you're becoming. So school is very, very important on your self-esteem and the type of person you are. And obviously your friends have a huge impact on who you are. Now, I'm not saying they have all of it, but at the same time, average middle schooler spends more time with their friends than they do doing homework, watching TV, being alone, or being with the family. So that's kind of interesting when you think about it, and you look back at your middle school years and you say, was that me? Did I do that? Or was I more of a loner? Or did I spend more time watching TV? What your biggest influence in your life, what the old saying is, you're going to listen to the loudest voice in your life. So if the loudest voice in your life is a TV, then you have to worry about that. You should think about what you're putting into your body, what you're putting into your mind, because that's going to be what develops you. And so you have to be cautious of that stuff. And then factors playing a role in the development of your self-esteem, basically conflict between social acceptance and individual identity. Are you going to be a part of the group? And that's basically the term there is, in a sense, like peer pressure. If all your friends are going to smoke pot, are you going to do it with them? Or are you going to say, that's not for me? It's a choice one day you will have to make. And so you have to define on who you are. And then longing to belong to a peer group, that's just simply saying that, belonging to a club or something like that, anything that helps you identify with who you are. A lot of times you have people that you typically want to be with, the same type of people you are. For me, example, when I was in school, I hung out with the jocks, if you're the athletes or whatever, because that's who I saw every day. That's who I could relate to them. They played sports. I played sports. We understood we had the same demands in the afternoons, trying to get studying done, that type of stuff. So a lot of times you kind of group together with the people that are similar to who you are. Now, you can have positive and negative interactions with your friends, obviously. Good friends will be supportive and share experiences with you. Negative friends will gossip and basically a lot of times have hurtful comments, talk behind your back and things like that, which is not such a good situation. And last but not least, media, which I think your generation is affected probably more by media than any of the other previous generations, just because you guys are so in touch with what's going on. If you'd have asked me who was running for president when I was in the 10th grade, I would have laughed at you, because I wasn't in touch with that stuff. The media kind of saturates your life through Twitter and all the social media and those types of things. But everything, you have to remember, everything you see leaves an imprint. So you have to provide your own filter in that situation. I remember the very first image I saw on the internet that disturbed me. It was a guy get his head cut off, and it's still. No, you weren't alive yet. No, that was 1994. So yeah, and it's still burned in my head. No, it wasn't the very first image, but it's the one that really just burned into my head. You know, because it freaked me out. It was just weird. Why did I see it? There was a Gulf War, I think, going on, and it was I don't know. I mean, the internet was new, and you're like, oh, really? They got this stuff on here? You're clicking, oh, yeah, they do. So it was bad. It was either that or like a car accident or something like that. But either way, it was weird. The other thing that media provides and does, and we're running out of time here, is that it does provide an unrealistic view of reality, of your body image and things like that. Unfortunately, media proposes, hey, this is how everybody should look. This is, everybody should have 4% body fat, should be 6'2", 205 pounds, and, have girls hanging all over them and all that stuff. But, in the same situation with ladies, everybody's got the hourglass figure and the long, beautiful hair and all that, and it's just not true. Life doesn't work that way. But it does give you an idea of saying that, hey, this is what everybody accepts because, hey, it must be true because it's what? On the internet, right? So, and it's TV as well. I mean, you don't, if you're watching Friends, there weren't any short, stocky girls on Friends. They were all tall, long, and lean, and beautiful. Or actually, one of them was real short. But same thing with the guys. So, huh? She was right there. All right. And so negative concepts. So negative concepts, and they link that stuff to your negative view of yourself. Media provides a non-portrait of reality, which gives you unrealistic expectations, and when you can't achieve that, then you end up with a poor self-concept of yourself. So we're going to wrap up with that right there. I know it was a lot of preaching, but it really, when you get to this kind of touchy-feely type stuff, when it comes to self-esteem, there's a lot of, the main thing you need to take away from this is the factors that affect you. And hopefully some of the illustrations will help you remember that.